Hello everybody, welcome back to Pathfinder Kingmaker. This is your horrible person, and I just had spotted dick for breakfast. Make of that what you will. So, we're going to be going to Oleg's trading post today. Oh, by the way, I've been messing around with the Beneath the Stolen Lands expansion that just came out, along with Kingmaker's Enhanced Edition. Among the changes were annihilating my custom portrait folder, which you may have noticed I get some use out of, and so in order to get back to this point in the game without a blank character portrait, I just had to restart the game and play back up to this point. So if you notice any small differences, that'll explain why. So, let's go to Oleg's. Use crisis points to increase chances for an advisor. Okay, crisis points is new. I've never seen that before. That is a large rabbit. That is a running man. So, go walking into the gate here, and we find bandits. In the name of the Stag Lord, the lawful authority in the stolen lands, we demand this week's tax and some beer. And where's that pretty wife of yours, Oleg? She should serve us dinner. If that's what the kids are calling it these days. Kressel. Quiet down, dimwit. Oleg, we're just here for the Stag Lord's tax. Hand over the money and we'll be on our way. Oleg. You want to drink some of my blood, too? I'm sick of you. You're like locusts. You think you control everything around here just because you put up that painted rag of yours. You come here, squeeze us dry, and Oleg, a large man with a rough face, stops talking when he notices you. Ah, you must be the guests from Rostov. Ah, you must be the asshole blowing our cover. We could have had an ambush. Let's see. I can be lawful or I can be good. It's going to end up the same way, but let's be lawful, because I think it's easier to be good later. So lawful neutral, attack. My task is to clear this land of bandits. I'll start right now. Kressel, retreat. We're too few for a fight. Let's call for help from the camp. No way. This just means we can rob a few idiots instead of one. To arms, everyone! That bandit voice is hurting my throat. So, Kressel, the bandit leader, just popped a potion of invisibility. In the case that I actually had something at this point that would let me detect invisibility or reveal an invisible creature, it still wouldn't work because that was a cutscene and she does not exist anymore. So, need a little post-bandit tea there to clear the throat. Let's all hit the big one first.
You deserved it.
Whoa, no, keep doing that. Notice my paladin here is starting to wander through the group and could provoke attacks of opportunity, so I'll just break him off to attack this guy. Oleg is backing us up with a crossbow. He's decided it's time for these bandits to get off of his lawn. Alright. Two-handed weaponry. Do your work. I'm going to take everything the bandits have because I'm standing right next to a merchant. Specifically, Oleg. Do a little quick save here. Oleg. Take that, you scoundrels! Oleg shakes his fist. But now, he scratches his head and stares at the ground gloomily. The girl got away, a plague on her. She's certain to complain to the Stag Lord. They came here before to collect taxes, but this time they'll come to punish treason. Now what are we to do? He sighs heavily. If only I could send Svetlana somewhere safe and show those rats what's what. He notices a fair-haired woman approach. Dove, why are you here? I told you to stay hidden. Svetlana. It's all over. I saw it. I just needed to be sure you were all right. The woman looks at her husband tenderly, as if with a hint of sorrow. Oleg mumbles something as he looks away, embarrassed. My name is Svetlana. I'm sorry your arrival to our trading post turned out so unwelcoming. Hey, I'll take experience points. Let's get to the point. You say the bandits are going to attack again? Who are they and when will they arrive? Who are they? They're the Stag Lord's gang, that's who. These lands teem with bandits like bedbugs in a beggar's hut, and you just stir them up. They have a camp not far from here. I expect they'll return in full force in half a day, maybe less. The Stag Lord won't take an insult like this lightly, and his henchmen are more like demons than men. Okay, well, they don't have damage reduction like demons, so I'm not worried about it. Tell me as much as you know. How many bandits are there? What do they want? What do they want? Those bloodsuckers think they own this land. They come, take what they want, and steal the better part of our money every month as a toll for their leader. They even broke our gate, so we couldn't try to hide anything from them. No one knows exactly how many there are. Sometimes only 5 or 6 come. Sometimes it's a whole gang. I'd have shown them what for long ago, if not for Svetlana. They claimed they were collecting taxes. Why? For the Stag Lord and his cronies, of course. That Stag Lord fancies himself a king in these parts. He may have antlers for a crown, but all the troublemakers around here are happy to follow his orders as long as they're paid. So they charge an arm and a leg as taxes, and they call their executions punishment for treason, even those who never swore allegiance to the Stag Lord. They're killed fast if they're lucky. If not, Oleg looks to Svetlana. Dove, why don't you go start supper while we finish our talk? That's right, get back in the kitchen. Svetlana. I have no need to be protected from dark talk. I'm not some blind kitten, you know. I've seen what they do to people. Svetlana lowers her head. Most of the gang is made up of simple bandits, but there are a few monsters among the leadership, especially those close to the Stag Lord. Ox and Dovin from Nizrak come to mind. They like to make a show of their tortures and executions. My husband and I, we saw the bodies. The bodies they have been gnawed upon. No. Alright, lawful good time. You have nothing to fear. I'll help you deal with their attack. Well, I appreciate your good intentions. I may not have the best manners, but Oleg Levitin is the last name you'll hear accused of being ungrateful. If we manage to defend this post, I'll reward you proper. So will Svetlana. We have to hide Svetlana. Please don't argue, Dove. Now, we also need to decide on a plan. Go ahead and look around. There may be some tools that can be used for the battle. There are some pretty solid traps around here. Some tar and a box of alchemist's fire, it looks like. That's a good thing to have laying around. Alchemist's fire? We could put it by the gate. Light it off with a burning arrow when those bandits are nearby. Oh, but that could set the post on fire, Oleg shouts, surprised. Well, maybe if we covered the walls with something to protect them. Alright, yes, I think it could work. I'll even shoot the arrow myself. I used to be pretty good with a bow back in my day. But then I took an arrow to the knee. Okay. Can you answer a few more questions for me? I'm afraid they'll come back while we're chatting away, but what's to be done? The fort's like a day away. We've been talking for 5 minutes. Let's see. Enough about the bandits for now. You have to ask, if you want Boken to help you in the next fight, you have to ask this question. You saw someone run out of the trading post. Do you know who it was? Well, that must have been Boken. He sells potions. He lives out in the forest like a hermit, but he comes here every day. He knows every tree and bush in the area and how they can help you. The Stag Lord's gang wants him to work for them. He lacks the courage to fight those bandits, but he won't just walk away from us. He has a good heart, even if he grumbles a lot, especially recently. Alright, well, it's shopping time. Don't know what good trading will serve if those bloodsuckers come back and take everything, but alright, have a look. Yeah, well, if you think that impending doom is coming, you should just be opening your stores to me and letting me take whatever I need in order to repel the oncoming invaders, right? No, this is a role-playing game. We don't do that. Okay, so, just handy little button here. can sell off items automatically. Sell off anything non-magical. Masterwork is still pretty good for this level, so we're not gonna sell off our... Oh, the magical ever-burning torches count as non-magical, apparently. Now, we're gonna need those later. The Masterwork Light Mace you can have. The Masterwork Nunchaku you can have. Bracers of Armor +1 you can have. Don't need these books. I'll hold on to my food. And I don't think... Some people on the forums were saying, hey, you can sell that potion of remove blindness, but I feel like I'm just going to be buying it back later. So we'll buy all that. Gives us a total of... Where's my total money? I feel like I should be seeing that. And yet, I am not seeing my total money. Oh, there it is in the bottom right. 1346. So with that, I could buy a couple Masterwork weapons, but honestly, at this point in the game, there's not a whole lot of point to buying almost anything. Except for your kind of renewable, or not renewable, your one-shot items like potions and scrolls. A lot of the stuff you're going to find just laying around, as is customary for a role-playing game. And we've leveled up. So... We're gonna do the easy ones first. Gonna have Dr. Jordan level up as a paladin. Increase his 2 skills. Oh, he's got an extra skill point this turn, so we'll put that there. I got the ability to lay on hands. And I get my Divine Grace ability, which lets me add my Charisma bonus to all saving throws. I'm going to lay my hands on you. It will be good. Okay, we're gonna level up Lolly Waifu as Bard. And she doesn't actually need Persuasion. We could do Perception. Yeah, we'll do Perception. And Bard talent. I always feel like there should be more Bard talents in this game, like things that increase your song abilities and whatnot. But no, it's an increased perception, a combat feat, faster stealth. Sorry. Poison resistance. Skill focus makes sense. We could do skill focus. Oh, but I think we want a combat trick right now. Where's point blank shot? Does she already have point blank shot? Yeah, there's point blank shot. Went to the top because it's a recommended feat for her. Very handy in the game to do that. Gonna take Hideous Laughter. Why not have a spell that just completely takes people out of the combat? With Amiri, I actually like just ditching Barbarian and going into two-handed fighter with her. I'm sure some theory crafters will lose their mind over that suggestion, but whatever. Her lower nature is gonna drag back a bit. So we'll do lower nature instead of athletics. And we will give her power attack. Wait, I gave her the wrong kind of fighter. I gotta go back. We've got to go deeper. Two-handed fighter. There we go. Did that?
I'm listening.
I feel like that went faster than I anticipated. Okay, everything should be good.
I'm listening.
So Valerie is always an interesting one. There are some exotic builds out there for her, but I think I'm gonna go with kind of the basic tower shield specialist. I'm eventually going to get her what's called Dazzling Display. That's a fun little ability. It basically will make everything run away, except for things that don't feel fear. So for that, she needs weapon focus in the weapon she's going to use. So we'll do that. Oh, also it's persuasion based, so we're gonna pump up her persuasion. Perception she's not particularly good at. She's gonna need mobility as well, because you get a bonus. You get a bonus to fighting defensively when you get to 3 mobility ranks. It's one of those things kind of buried in the text of the rules, but it's there. So everybody gets their 3 points of mobility if they're going to fight defensively, which is pretty much just Valerie's jam. Box contains various household and hunting tools. You succeeded a perception check. You find good steel traps, because big-ass bear traps are so hard to find. So we're going to use the traps to help catch the bandits. And the other thing we can do is over here. There's some disgusting slush in the pot. It seems to be tar. Okay, we're going to spill the tar near the trading post entrance to slow the bandits down. So we're going to be slopping through tar and on fire and stepping into bear traps as they enter the fortifications. Oop, gotta talk to Boken. I'm Boken, local herbalist. What brings you here? We could use your help fighting the bandits. Where's this coming from? Where do all these voices come from? You want an old man like me to fight? Here, take this potion. Consider that my help in your fight. Oh, you got a potion of cure light wounds. That's awfully generous of you. Will the bandits here bother you as much as Svetlana and Oleg? Maybe more. Help us get rid of them for good. Failed diplomacy check. I'd rather sit in the bushes and play with myself. I mean, watch you and Oleg while I play with myself. I mean, watch you and Oleg beat the daylights out of those thugs. Watching from a distance is more fun, you know? We'll talk later. Okay. So, I failed my diplomacy check to get Boken to help out. That might actually be a good thing, because when he does help out, he throws these alchemist fire bombs in that also hurt you. So, what the hell, why not? Let's just get this party started. Boken can sit in the bushes, engaged in onanism. Alright. Aim prepared for the attack. Get in your positions and wait. Fear not. I'll stand between you and this scum. You're under my protection. Amiri flexes her shoulders. Finally a fight! I was bored with all that talking! Linzi. Well, these aren't the heroics I was hoping to write about, but I guess even the greatest heroes had to start somewhere. We got sent to fight bandits, Linzi. This is exactly what we were told we were going to do. But, yeah, okay. Linzi's not that smart. I see you're not easily cowed. I beg you, be careful, and please don't let Oleg do anything too risky. Svetlana, go hide inside. You've been out of the kitchen for too long. We're going to go meet our guests. 6 hours and 40 minutes later. Okay. So, almost everyone's dead except for this second wave back here. I'm gonna have my fighty types go over here because everybody charges Oleg, and Oleg goes down a little bit too fast. So just go to him. Amiri, get your rage on. Linzi is singing. We'll be singing while we're winning. Let's see if you can make this person hideously laugh. I do not... We're going to rest after this, so I can smite some evil. If I can... Okay, if I can even get into him. What happened? Did I smite evil as a ranged attack? What the... One enemy, Paladin calls out that the powers of good. Okay. It didn't even seem like I got close enough to touch him, but I guess I did. And they exploded. Ah, now this person's laughing. Nice thing about that is you get +4 to hit when they're on the ground. Oh, Haps Biden shot Lolly Waifu. That's not nice. Alright, and once again, let's take every single damn thing these guys have, which is going to include a Cloak of Resistance. Let's slap this onto main character boy here, who now has amazingly good saves for a second level character. And we'll talk to Oleg about our reward, which is in the kitchen. It's food. It's food. Stop thinking like that. Okay, Oleg is breathing heavily, but he shakes his fist in the air menacingly. You rats got what you deserved. Now they'll know better than to treat honest people like cattle. Easy, man. They're all dead. We should call Boken out before he freezes in those bushes. Yeah. Now, my lord, head on up to the guest rooms on the 2nd floor. You deserve some rest after such a battle. I need to clean things up. And this is for your efforts. Now, don't offend me by trying to turn it down. Just take it. An honest fight deserves an honest reward. If that were more common practice in this world, I think life would be so much better. Items received, 100 gold coins. Very exciting. Okay, so now we go inside. Svetlana, I think, will just tell us, hey, go upstairs. Oh, look, a secret compartment with 253 gold pieces in it. And it doesn't count as stealing from Oleg. A locked chest.
I failed.
Which we failed to pick. Another chest with items in it that doesn't count as stealing from Oleg. Stealing stuff, but it doesn't count for reasons we can't get into. Tiger summons a pet cat. Cat's feral instinct provides +2 morale bonus on perception and lore nature checks. Okay. We'll equip the cat on somebody appropriate for that. In the meantime, we get to go to sleep for 8 hours and 42 minutes. I wish I could sleep that long in real life. You wake up from a nasty dream that tortured you almost all night long. In it, you saw a wall of unnaturally thick fog that surrounded you, slowly moving closer and closer. I've read enough Stephen King to know where this is going. A quick look out the window, and you find out that the fog was not a figment of your imagination, not a dream. And then...
Hear me. Please hear me. Can you hear me? Please.
And now we have Faye ASMR from The Guardian of the Bloom. The half-transparent outline of a beautiful nymph appears before you. Okay, hold on a second. Half-transparent outline of a beautiful nymph. This lady is green and has weird knobbly bits all over her. And her eyes are screwed up, and her hand is distressingly yellow for unknown reasons. What's our guideline for beautiful here? Nymphs in Dungeons and Dragons are supposed to be so ethereally, supernaturally beautiful that looking at them can strike you blind or dead. I'm not getting that from this picture. Now, I'm gonna get into some other details later as to why maybe people will be like, well, beauty is subjective, but yeah, for right now, sorry, Swamp Thing, not interested. It seems that only you can see or hear the nymph. Who are you?
Who am I? Just a tear shed by the land itself. The bitter sigh of nature. I am a nymph, the guardian of this area. A defeated guardian. Call me the guardian of the bloom, if you wish.
I don't wish. What do you want from me?
Aid, salvation. We have a common enemy, and long have I searched for someone who can defeat him. The one you call the Stag Lord. As a storm strikes ruthlessly with gusts and lightning, the Stag Lord wreaks havoc with the swords of his servants. And not just in the world of people. The land also suffers from the evil he brings. My forests and my flowers suffocate in this fog. Soon even I will vanish, as the last ray of light fades at dusk.
So the Stag Lord is responsible for the fog?
Yes. It hides his fortress as well as his dark deeds. But while responsible, he did not create this affliction. It is the work of a powerful druid who has betrayed even himself. I know not why the powers did not leave this renegade, but even I was unable to defeat him.
How can I help you?
This fog, it enshrouds, entangles, suffocates. If only I could learn how it was created. But my powers wane. I have barely the strength to call out to you. All I know for certain is that somewhere in this forest lies an old house, and it echoes with the remnants of a strange power. The Stag Lord and his druid were there. The fog hides this place from me, but I can point you to the bandits' camp near the Thornford. Make them tell you where this place is. Go there and listen to the echo, catch the whispers, search for anything that can tell you how the fog was created. Once the fog clears, nature will breathe again, and you will be able to easily find your way to the fortress of our mutual enemy.
All right, go away.
I don't believe in fate, stranger, but our meeting seems more than a coincidence.
Okay, Green Lady. Okay, so that was the Guardian of the Bloom, who's weird looking. Alright, let's talk to Svetlana. Good day, hope you're feeling alright after that battle. I can't thank you enough for what you've done. I definitely don't want to waste your time, but if you have a moment, I have a request. Oh, wow, everybody's got a quest for me in a role-playing game. I'm shocked. What did you want to ask me? Svetlana lowers her head. This is a very personal request, and maybe not important enough for your time. I completely understand if you say no. But the first time the Stag Lord's thugs came here demanding money, they also took my wedding ring. Just tore it off my hand. It's just a trinket, really, but it meant so much to me. I remember every moment of the day Oleg came to me, that ring in hand, to ask if I'd marry him. I was standing in a fancy dress on the stairs of my father's home, fearing that I'd misheard something, or that I'd say something stupid and everyone around would laugh. And they did. Svetlana interrupts herself, shaking her head gently. If you happen to find my ring among the bandits' possessions, please bring it back to me. It's easy to recognize. My name is engraved on the inside of the band. Svetlana drops her eyes, lowering her voice. There is one more thing. Among the bandits, there's a dark-haired woman who wields dual axes. She's not bad in a fight. In fact, she can be extremely dangerous and cruel. But please, I beg you, show her mercy if you have the chance. I'd be happy to help, Svetlana. Alright, that's all we really need from Svetlana, so we'll stop talking to her. Noriel 8 Eyes is an elf with PTSD who lets you hire mercenaries. I don't think I'm actually going to hire any mercenaries. So, we'll finish looting Oleg and Svetlana's possessions without it counting as theft, because RPG reasons. So I think I'm going to kind of cap off this episode by going through the characters and why they don't work. Before I kind of get into the characters themselves, so Pathfinder is a creation of Paizo Incorporated. They're based out of, I believe, the West Coast, and they've got West Coast urbanite sensibilities. They're very sort of progressive and multicultural and that sort of thing. So you see that in their choice of characters and what they feel compelling. Now, that doesn't quite mesh up in many ways with how the world ought to work in the actual lore of the world and in the mechanics of the world. I'm going to get into that on a case-by-case basis, but let's just say there's certain things that you could assume would happen in a medieval city, for instance, that wouldn't necessarily happen in a medieval city where people have magic that can, for example, create food and water or cure diseases. And then, when you take those things into consideration, like sometimes you'll have things that happen in the game that are appropriate to the mechanics, but then they don't really mesh with the lore of the world, and it's like, well, why haven't things happened like that up until now? Or you have things that mesh with the lore of the world, and that doesn't really match up with the mechanics, and then also doesn't match up with the urbanite sensibilities of Paizo. And then, so you end up with 3 potential paths for any particular idea to take, and they tend to be somewhat mutually exclusive. So let's get started with Lolly Waifu here. Okay. Linzi, a halfling girl with tousled hair, wearing a dusty traveler's outfit, sits chewing the tip of her quill. Just a moment, how should I put this? Oh, I know! She scribbles something quickly in a notebook scrawled with a verse, raises her eyes, and gives you a bright smile. Oh, hi! Tell me about yourself. What do you want to know? Where are you from? I'm from all over, haha. I was actually born in Galt, in such a tiny village that it's not even on the maps. If it weren't for my teacher, I'd still be living there, milking goats, weeding turnips, swilling homebrew, having babies, and using books only as kindling. Oh, they're so horrible and conservative and rural. Alright, who was your teacher? He's a true saint. He was once an important person in the capital at the Church of Shellen, but he got in trouble with the authorities. It involved small boys, and went on a self-imposed exile to the tiniest, most godforsaken priestless village he could find, the one where I was born. He wanted to open a school, but the villagers wouldn't let him. You can heal us all you like, but no putting any ideas into our children's heads. It'll only distract them from their work. But he did teach me on the sly. Yes, because nothing unusual about an old priest taking a small girl aside against her parents' wishes. He taught me how to read, how to write. He gave me books, poems, legends. He was the one who told me about the Archknights of Avestan. And when I told him I was going on a journey, he gave me a magic ring so that Shellen would protect me from harm. And giving those little girls jewelry. I haven't seen him since I ran away from home. I hope he's all right. I ask Shellen every day to grant him a long life and new students. How did you become a bard? When I realized there was nothing for me at home besides more radish patches, I decided to run away. A traveling book peddler, Tessie the Quill, happened across our village. Well, I stuck to her like a burr and wouldn't let go until she agreed to take me as an apprentice. Together we traveled everywhere, to Brevoy and Taldor, even Ustalav, and then I found out about the Grand Academy of Arts in Pitax. And I thought, well, I love reading stories, so I can surely learn to write them too. I enrolled on my first try, and they even gave me a scholarship. Then they expelled me, ha ha ha, but that's okay. They'd already taught me all the important stuff, and now with Shellen's help I can manage on my own. So, let's consider this character for a moment. She's born on a farm in Galt, in a tiny village. Galt is, well, they describe it in the game here. A nation of free thinkers and radicals, renowned for brilliant poets, artists, and philosophers, whose ideas shaped the politics of the whole of Avestan. Galt was once a vassal nation of Cheliax. After the death of Eredin and the rise of House Thrun in Cheliax, the people of Galt decided to throw off their foreign rulers, along with their own nobles who had colluded with them. So, sort of a violent Brexit. The executions did not end the bloodshed, and within 5 years, the severed heads of the ministers of the first government rolled down the steps of the guillotine. In 40 years since, over a dozen governments have ruled Galt, rising and falling like the waves of a stormy sea. So, now it goes into more detail on Galt in the books for the role-playing game. Essentially, the cities in Galt are collapsing into chaos and famine in a sort of Venezuela-ish manner, because that's what happens when everyone's afraid of being executed for treason at a moment's notice, and the government collapses every couple of years. So, one of the things they talk about is the fact that the city-dwelling population is starting to turn into this band of roving savages, and they're going out to the farms, and they're sacking the farms because there's no food in the cities. So, Linzi's born on a subsistence farm in the middle of nowhere in Galt, and she runs away from home. Presumably, she was, put to work milking goats, weeding turnips, and all that other things because her parents needed the labor to survive. So she runs away from home, not only absconding with any familial duties, but there's a good chance that raiders from the cities in Galt are just going to go rob and kill her family. And she does not seem to give a damn. Throughout the game, she never says, like, hey, now that we run our own kingdom, I could, take the piles of money you've given me and give some to my family, maybe move them here, set them up where they don't have to live as subsistence farmers. But that doesn't fly with Paizo sensibilities, because Paizo is very locked into West Coast American view of things, where we're very far away from the notion of having to be a subsistence level farmer to survive. Farming is something that you do as one option. You could sell the farm, you could move to the city, you could work in a factory, you could go to school, you can do all sorts of things that don't really mesh with the presumed realities of a setting like Galarian, especially in this area that she's talking about. So we've got somebody who basically abandoned her family to die to pursue her own ambitions. And she's one of the good guys. Why are your clothes so messy? Linzi waves her hand carelessly. Forget it, I can't waste money on looks. I'd rather buy books instead. In 100 years, when people are reading my works, they aren't going to ask whether the author had holes in her sleeves. Ah, yes. And she's gender atypical, not concerned about her appearance. Gotcha. Alright, so I feel like we're going to be done talking to Linzi right now. One of the things the sort of people who work at Paizo, you can understand why everyone in this game is essentially out on their own and completely detached from family, nation, culture, religion, whatsoever, because, when you're a group of people who live in Seattle and you make role-playing games for a living, and the number one thing on your political agenda is something like transgender rights or whatnot, you are someone who has basically abandoned all the traditions of your society, probably of your family as well, and everyone who existed before you is just this sort of hidebound speed bump on your way to self-actualization. And hey, maybe those people are right, but it's jarring because that's just not how most people actually think. Most people have some attachment to their parents, their families, their brothers, sisters, that sort of thing. And speaking of familial obligations gone wrong, let's talk to Valerie. Greetings, Valerie sighs. I hope everything is well, I hope. I'm ready for new orders. Tell me about yourself. What exactly would you like to know? I was born to a noble family, though I didn't remain long on my family estate. My father sent me to the Order of the Eternal Rose, but I left once I realized that it didn't match my principles. Really? Where are you from? What was your childhood like? I was born in Brevoy, but in fact I've never seen much of the country. I spent my childhood on a remote estate, owned by my noble I spent much of my childhood on a remote estate owned by my noble family. Okay, the estate was owned by my noble family. My father was a respectable philanthropist and benefactor of the Church of Shellen. He also was a renowned private collector and great admirer of the arts. My mother saw to my education personally. From my early years, I learned good manners, how to behave at the dinner table, and the proper form of words for every occasion. I also learned the difference between true nobles and low-born upstarts, and I learned how to treat each of them properly. Our home was always under the protection of several paladins of Shellen. My father has donated a handsome sum to their order. One of them, a man of venerable age with a grey beard, once let me touch his shining armor. I still remember the admiration I felt when I touched the cold, polished steel. Valerie smiles. Of all the memories of my childhood, that one is somehow the warmest one. So, the touch of cold steel is the most comforting thing in your worldview. Okay. Why were you sent to the Paladin Order of the Eternal Rose? As you can imagine, from my first days I was surrounded by crowds of servants and nannies who never stopped praising my heavenly beauty. The paladins of Shellen, who used to visit our house, echoed these praises. In the end, general consensus overwhelmed my father's better judgment. When I turned 6, I was brought to the Church of Shellen and told this would be my new home. Shellen being the goddess of beauty and love. Don't pity me, though, I beg of you. Many who hear this story immediately assume that my parents were cruel and had no love for their child. Valerie's eyes become stern. My parents had respect for me. They taught me something that has supported me all of my life, a sense of self-esteem. Okay. So, this is one of those things where sort of pop psychology runs headlong into realities. If you look at actual academic and life performance, there tends to be an inverse correlation between self-esteem and accomplishment, because when you just by default feel good about yourself, there's no reason for you to strive for something better. But shall we continue? Besides, they didn't abandon me. Once every 6 months, they would come and visit me at the Order of the Eternal Rose. We had some tea, and then had an hour to walk around the garden. Then they would take their leave as etiquette demanded. Good Padawan. Actually, the Jedi aren't even that permissive. What did they teach you in the Order? A variety of things. Some of them appealed to me, others I simply couldn't accept. I enjoyed the physical activities and swordsmanship, but the arts, calligraphy, painting, poetry, and so many other ways to waste one's time. I guess that deep in my heart I always knew I'd never be a true paladin of Shellen. Wielding a sword always felt more natural to me than handling a paintbrush. Why did you leave the Order? Because of my heavenly beauty, Valerie winces in contempt. According to Shellen's laws, all art is sacred, whatever form it takes. Severe punishment awaits those who dare harm a painting, sculpture, or poem, no matter how worthless the drivel might be. My looks always attracted unwanted attention from the pilgrims and acolytes at the temple. I received my first poem, dedicated to me, when I was 9. The author was some wealthy geezer. named okay. Valerie's lips thin in contempt. That was only the beginning. Sculptures, pictures, poems, I was drowning in them. My admirers mobbed me, and I had to respectfully accept all their garbage. The clerics of the temple were magnanimous, for my suitors made generous offerings to the church. But one time I just snapped. Barely suppressed anger glitters across Valerie's eyes. Some wealthy idiot had dedicated an extremely untalented poem to me, and he had the nerve to read it right to my face, holding my sleeve. The hour was late, and I was on my way to get some rest after a boring lesson on rhymes. I lost control and tore the poem apart right in front of him. Valerie raises her head proudly. The paladins wanted to impose some punishment upon me. I don't remember which one exactly. They wanted me to repent. Instead, I just gathered my things and left. So, now we have a bit of a logical conundrum. The Paladins of Shellen guard all art, and all art is worthy, even something that seems to be objectively not good. But, okay, so we can say that, according to Shellen's teachings, beauty and art are subjective. It's all in the eye of the beholder. And yet, Valerie is sacred to Shellen because she is objectively beautiful. More so than other people. So, which is it, Paladins of Shellen? Is beauty and art subjective and it's all worthy of praise and protection? Or is there objective standards of beauty, which appear to be blonde hair, blue eyes, and European features? So that doesn't make actual sense. What did you do after you left the Order? I set off for Restov. I wanted to get as far away as possible from Shellen and the destiny everyone seemed so ready to force upon me. Besides, the School of Swordsmanship in Restov has quite a decent reputation. Honestly, I was hoping for an opportunity to learn from the famous Aldrai masters. Eventually it became clear that their technique wasn't a good fit for me. They teach to avoid impact, whereas I prefer to raise my shield. But my abilities and skills, which I'd learned at the Order of the Eternal Rose, were enough to make the Sword Lords take an interest in me. They offered me a chance to join the mercenaries who served the Sword Lords, and I accepted. So, you were brought to a paladin order dedicated to beauty because of your objective beauty, and they taught you hand-to-hand frontal combat, where you're gonna get smashed in the face a lot. Why? Why would they do that? If they were going to teach you some form of combat, why wouldn't they teach you archery so that you can sit in the back and fire arrows at people or something? I mean, I've seen your intelligence score. They weren't going to teach you magic. But it's like, oh, you're this amazingly beautiful woman. We're going to strap armor on you. We're going to put you through intense combat drills that will melt away the shapely body fat that defines female beauty. And then we're going to have people hit you in the face. It all makes sense. But, yeah, no, this is a strong, independent woman who can be anything she wants, so it doesn't have to make sense. I bet your beauty inspired many people in the Order. Valerie's gaze suddenly becomes cold. And here I'd hoped to avoid the question, she exhales loudly. Well, let's get this over with, once and for all. You should understand that I am perfectly aware that most races, orders, and genders find me physically attractive. Because beauty's objective, apparently. It's beyond my power to change that, but I've never given a potential admirer any reason to start a conversation with me. Okay. But it doesn't stop them. After leaving the Order, I took a dagger and cut off the long hair they used to praise. Well, now I get letters praising the beauty of my eyes. It was because of my appearance that I ended up in the Order of the Eternal Rose, though I never wanted to be a paladin. It was because of my beauty that an infinite number of suitors have pursued me, all of them confusing simple politeness with hints of affection. Valerie clenches her fists. But do you know what I really want? I want an all-female Ghostbusters. That's what I want. I want people to stop treating me like a piece of art. I want them to notice that I'm a person, that I'm capable of something more than smiling for paintings, where I sit in a lacy satin dress, holding a basket of peaches in my lap. Is that too much to ask? How did you look in those lacy satin dresses after getting off the training field with all the bruises and chafing from your heavy armor? Oh, it's such amazing cognitive dissonance. Okay, so okay, I don't let's see. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your honesty. I understand you very well. You are a true friend who I can trust with my life. I am truly happy that you understand me. Thank you. Because loyalty and liking to hit things is character traits. Valerie smiles at you gratefully, and the smile is full of a warmth that you never expected from someone as stern as Valerie. You suddenly realize that you're smiling back at her. I've made her day by friend-zoning her. Oh, actually, no, I think I still can do the relationship option with her. I don't know if it'll work. It's really tricky with her. You know, you really are quite beautiful. You're a reliable friend and worthy ally, but it would be a crime to ignore your beauty. Valerie gives you a stony look. I sincerely hope your words carry nothing more than mere politeness. I think this is the one option that opens up the romance option. The other two shut it down. For the moment, yes, I'm not going to stalk you like your admirers, but I wanted you to know that I've noticed you. So you like me, but won't seek my favor? Well, that's something new. Valerie raises her eyebrow and smiles, but this smile expresses amusement, not her usual cold arrogance. Okay. So I'm going to be done with her. I think it's pretty obvious why that's one of the characters that just doesn't make sense. Okay. Let's talk to Amiri Sue. We're gonna talk? Alright, spill it, I'm listening! Ah! Amiri, the filthy animal hides you call armor have some conspicuous reddish stains on them. What's going on? It's called free bleeding! Don't try to oppress me, male! What? No, besides, I hear it'll kill sharks! It attracts sharks! Then I'll kill the sharks! I'm gonna be the first Six Bears barbarian to kill a shark! We're on land, Amiri. Sharks! Okay. We're just talking. You don't like it? Amiri shrugs several times, perhaps flexing her muscles, or maybe just filling in the silence. Dunno! Depends on what we're gonna talk about. If it's monsters, or swords, or scars, I approve. That's good. Okay. If you're gonna ask questions like, why, and what for, and how, screw this! I'm not a well-written character! What do you want from me? Amiri looks you over slowly, head to toe, which makes you feel violated. Or you got even harder ones? Tell me about yourself. This simple question seems to puzzle Amiri. She scratches her head, then starts counting on her fingers. First, I'm a barbarian. I'm strong. I grew up in the realm of the Mammoth Lords. I left my tribe, the Six Bears. Amiri looks thoughtfully at her four bent fingers and shrugs. And I like fights, she concludes, bending her thumb. What's it like to be a barbarian in the Six Bears tribe? Ha! Our people are big and strong. We can cut a monster in half with one swing. We can walk 3 days and nights with no rest. We can eat a whole fried ox. Okay. I guess you had to do a lot of training to become as strong as you are? Training? Haha! No one freaking trained me. The boys at Six Bears got all the training. All I could do was watch. Amiri's eyes gleam with anger. And you know what? They were still crap even after all that training, because I kicked their butts hard! Ah, yes. So now the immediate problem with Amiri's character presents itself. She was forbidden from receiving combat training. She's from this tribe of powerful, strong, notable warriors. The boys who received all the training lost in fights to her. Because she's a strong, independent woman. Animals, bandits, monsters, all thought they were stronger than me. Idiots! Amiri spits on the ground. Because if you start a fight, you think you can win. You think you're stronger than your enemy. Amiri raises her chin proudly. I defeated them all! See all the scars on my face? Yeah. How much stuff did you defeat? You were still a first-level character when I met you. What does the realm of the Mammoth Lords look like? Huge and freezing! No place for weaklings! Amiri narrows her eyes as if evaluating your ability to survive her homeland. Tribes hunt aurochs herds to survive. Aurochs are fast, so tribe follows herd for days, just to not die of hunger. If you are weak, you stay behind and die in the snow. Tribe cannot stop. Okay. So, her tribe is subsistence-level hunter-gatherers, where the weak and deformed, presumably, are left behind to die in the snow. I'm seeing, Spartan-style babies being thrown off cliffs, sort of thing. So, the first thing that pops into my mind is this is the kind of society where you need all hands on deck all the time. If you're male, you have to be the best warrior and best hunter you can be. If you're female, you've got to tend to things around the camp and you got to make babies because otherwise there's no more barbarians and you're losing people to cold, to hunger, to enemy raids. So this isn't a society where, tradition is just arbitrary. Tradition is going to be what is required to survive day to day. But let's see what else she has to say. Also, there are giants and mammoths. Sometimes demons come too. And the mastodons and the saber-toothed tigers. Amiri grins. You would survive, I think, for a few days. Ha ha ha! Okay. Why did you leave your tribe? Amiri flushes. Because they were all assholes. All of them. Men were cowards and scoundrels, and women were scared like sheep. Amiri rolls her bloodshot eyes in fury. Men there think no girl can be a fighter. Because they're weak. They're afraid a woman can beat them. Wait. You just said that you're from the Six Bears that are like massive, powerful people that can cut a monster in half with one swing, and they're great fighters, and they're hardcore survivalists. Now, the men are cowards and scoundrels, and the women are scared like sheep. What? Okay, so you've contradicted yourself, and now we have men there think no girl can be a fighter. They're weak. They're afraid a woman can beat them. Alright, so the world of Galarian follows a fairly Earth-like pattern for the most part, but that's where things kind of start breaking down again, because in Pathfinder rules, there are no physical differences between being male and being female. If you go back to the oldest editions of Dungeons & Dragons, women had a physical strength cap that was lower than the male physical strength cap, which is based on the real world, where females have about 40% less upper body strength than men. So the realities of any sort of believable society are going to be based on the intrinsic differences between men and women and the roles that men and women play. But in the game, there are actually no differences between men and women. So, and then throughout the game, you encounter things like, you're going to encounter other barbarian tribes, and like half the people in the combat parties will be female. So, it doesn't make sense. Like, I actually had someone yelling in the forums about, like, well, Amiri makes sense. What about Anne Bonny, who became a pirate during the 1700s? Like, well, Anne Bonny was raised in a city by her divorced father, who raised her as a boy, and she didn't get into piracy herself until she married a pirate, so even then she was kind of attached to a husband. So, yeah, the sort of sudden independent woman that we now see in Linzi, Amiri, and Valerie doesn't make any sense. But, and why in this world where men and women have no physical differences, would there be a tribe where the males are afraid a woman could beat them? Why wouldn't it just be understood that every warrior has an equal potential? Because they do in the mechanics of the game. But we're trying to look at... We're trying to diss conservative societies from an American West Coast urbanite perspective. Okay, you have anything else? And females just nod. Go sow hides, cook meat, watch kids. That's what they always say. But I'm a warrior, damn it. I won't cook hides and watch meat. Amiri is already shouting, her fists clenched tightly. Okay, so, I mean, she's mentally retarded, so I guess we can understand why she wouldn't understand what her place in society is. I told them so. I went hunting with men, and what did I get? Still the same. You are woman. You stay home. You even gave me a nickname. The Soft Chieftain. Like a warrior woman was a funny joke. Damn, I even went to hunt those shit-faced frost giants, and there... Amiri suddenly stops, breathing heavily, sweat beading on her forehead. How did she go hunting with the men if they wouldn't train her? Okay. After a moment, Amiri waves her hand awkwardly and forces herself to grin. So I left! Cowards, scoundrels, and sissies they were! That's why! Okay, so, Amiri. Describing your tribe, cowards, scoundrels, and sissies. What's it like to be a barbarian in the Six Bears tribe? Our people are big and strong. We can cut a monster in half with one swing. We can walk 3 days and nights with no rest. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. You're quite a good fighter. Amiri jerks her head up. Quite good, huh? Compared to who? If I was a crappy male, I'd fight better. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because I live in this world where there's no combat difference between men and women. But I just out of nowhere assume that you're not good as a fighter because you're female. Or you say I could be better. Like, go get some training, Amiri, right? I meant exactly what I said. You're quite a good fighter. Don't raise your voice to me ever again. Woman. Amiri continues to breathe heavily for several seconds, glaring at you, but finally she calms down. I won't, she mutters. Forget it. Oh, thanks for letting me talk. Let's talk about something else. Let's see. So why did you leave your tribe, and what's the story about the frost giants? I told you already. They were assholes. They treat women like sheep, not fighters. Amiri frowns. As for giants, I'll tell you later. Someday, maybe. Also, the capacity of a tribe to reproduce itself goes down terribly if you let your women up on front lines of combat, because let's say you have 100 people in your tribe, and 50 of them are men, 50 of them are women, and you get into some sort of horrible fight, and 45 of your 50 men die. The 5 remaining men could impregnate all of the remaining women, and you could have your tribe basically back up to strength in 1 generation. If you were to have the opposite situation happen, where 50 men are still alive and you're down to 5 women, your tribe's gonna die out. You're screwed. You'll probably make the women die from childbirth trying to get your numbers back up. Okay, yeah, so, okay, fine, whatever, we're in this fantasy world that has lost its own self-awareness. Continuing. That's a formidable sword, but it's not just a simple weapon, is it? You bet it's not simple. Check out how big it is! She proudly raises the blade, and you notice that even though Amiri is extremely strong, she still has difficulty wielding such a large sword. This sword belonged to a real blasted frost giant. I killed the beast and took this looker for myself. Fits me perfect. My damn trophy! Amiri's eyes flash with menace as if she's challenging some invisible enemy to try taking away her trophy. Hold up. Bullshit. First level character. Did not kill a frost giant. You're a lying bitch, Amiri. You're a lying, inconsistent, stupid bitch. And so are the people that wrote your character. Okay. Thanks for talking with me. We'll speak again later. Talking! When will we do some monster killing instead? So I think that's everybody that we're going to talk to for right now. I'm gonna go ahead and save my game. And we'll pick up there next time. We'll go on an actual adventure, and I'll stop analyzing my NPCs. So until the next time, enjoy yourself. Bye.